Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kristina Lynn Show. The talk show with heart, where Kristina brings you up close and personal with the most fascinating guests from all walks of life.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
And now your host, Kristina Lynn.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Kristina Lynn Show. We are the show that reaches out to some of the most fascinating and interesting people in the world. We're the talk show also with heart. So we're really glad to be here tonight. We have got another session with one of my favorite financial experts. We played part one and so many people loved it. They requested a part two with none other than our great friend, Henry Baker. Henry, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here, Kristina.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And you've always taught me so much about my finances. And now the audience really wants to learn a lot more about how they can really plan things for their future, for a happy, secure retirement, and also for their children so that they can also go to school or study a trade. We talked about that in the last show. Sometimes it's better not to spend the time and money for college. If you want to learn and be trained for a certain skill or something like that, then you may want to choose some other kind of training school.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that.
We are behind. They're looking for 16,000 new pilots in the next.
16,000.
Yep.
I had no idea.
And truck drivers are behind. I mean, if everybody
Wow.
goes to college, and it's a strange misconception in the society that everyone needs to be a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, everybody can't be that, or
Right.
we'll all be, starving with no food in our stores and inability. I mean, a lot of pilots retired with COVID.
Yeah.
A lot were retired because of the vaccines. There are a lot of professions out there, and I believe there's a lot of money to be made. And by not going to college, what's the value of college?
That's right.
And does everybody need to go? And making college free for everybody, is that even a good idea? I mean, there are a lot of jobs. I mean, people need plumbers. You can't have no plumbers, then what? Everyone's gonna be floating around with
That's
no
right.
plumbing, and their walls are falling down, and there's no houses because there's no carpenters. Or I guess we're gonna be importing all those people from other countries.
So there are a lot of skilled jobs that really you can go to training. You can train on the job, or you can train at a school that does just the training.
The advantages are huge because you have 4 years. I mean, a lot of technical schools are what, about a year to year and a half?
Yeah, technical schools are the way to go in so many cases.
And mechanics, I think they're graduating where that's 75,000 a year.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, you graduate college from mid-level college, you're not making anything close to that.
And a degree in sociology is a lot tougher than training as a plumber, an electrician, a truck driver.
You don't have the debt.
A pilot.
I mean, you don't have the debt to settle. I mean, a lot of people go to college, you have debt settling them for many, many decades. They have no time to even start, building retirement. That's a big problem, is that the debt goes too long and then there's no way to build.
Another category that I've heard besides pilots that really has a big shortage are air traffic controllers. And boy, no wonder so many flights have been canceled lately. They're canceling flights, not just because they don't have the crews and the pilots, but also because they don't have the air traffic controllers.
I think
so. That's dangerous.
A lot of young people are watching. I see it on YouTube, get rich quick schemes. This guy who's got this huge house, that huge house.
Oh, I've seen that. It was
an interesting story that I once heard. There was an older fellow who told me that he didn't understand why young people need to wear helmets riding their bikes. What's wrong with the kids these days? They can't ride bicycles without crashing and smashing up. When he was a kid, they didn't wear helmets. And look, every one of them is fine. Now, the ones that are here are fine, but the ones that had the crash are probably dead with brain damage. but he's
Oh,
only watching the ones that lived. So it's a strange
right.
conception, and make it huge or end it is not a good strategy.
It's true.
It,
You're
it
right.
really isn't. So I think the good thing to talk about is the diversification, where there are old school methods, let's put it that way, around insurance, around ways to protect yourself. And there's no reason why we can't be going after the exciting play. I mean, maybe a month ago, if we were speaking, it would have been crypto. Now, are we going into crypto? Are we not going into crypto? There's some people feeling pretty negative about crypto right now. Maybe people feel it's cheap and it's going to come back and you can keep riding up and down the wave. Now, if you call it right, you're making a huge amount of money. I mean, it's really,
Right.
see, the trick is this: is when you're watching a vehicle like Bitcoin going up 6, 7, 10% one day,
Yeah.
going up 80% or 300, 500%. Now, if I tell you every year you're going to make 6% on average,
Yeah.
you're going to tell me I can do that in one day. Why am I going to do that? Why would I do that in a year when I can do it in one day? So there's a
Right.
huge
Right.
like mental issue that's
Get
going
rich
on.
quick.
So to say, hey, I want to
Yeah.
break down. I have $400 a month to put into investments, retirement, other things outside of my life. Okay, $100 I'm putting into coin. $100 I'm putting into life insurance policy. $100 I'm putting into my Roth IRA, and $100 I'm putting into gold and silver.
Gold and silver. Yeah.
Now, if your crypto goes through the roof, you're going to be very rich. Now, you could be 4 times as rich, but you could also be.
You could lose it.
So
Yeah.
by
There's a
I
risk.
think embracing the traditional strategies that like put it in there, just forget about it. It's going to chug along and hit that 6%. And if everything else I'm doing goes down to garbage, I'm still going to have $1 million to retire on. That's a lot better than a lot of people today are facing. And
So how can they do that? How can they set that up to have that safe,
yeah,
secure $1 million on retirement?
I think it's discipline. It's a I mean, entrepreneurs are very guilty of this. They know that the most they can make if they have a successful business is reinvesting in their business, and all their
Right.
money's in their business. And all your money in one place, it might be great today, but the way things are today is not really the way it's going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So even if you said, Henry, look, my business is great, I'm not splitting into quarters. I'm not putting a quarter of my money into my business. I'm putting a lot of, okay, so put 60% into your business and 40% or 80%, 20, but something when you're making in those years,
you've got to diversify.
create something that, God forbid, the unbelievable happens. You get indicted.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the other element to talk about is creditor protection, which is something I didn't really understand. And being in America, where we're so litigious, I could have 50 properties, 4 businesses, and I don't look right, and I hit the guy on the bicycle and cream him. He just might own everything I own, and I'll have nothing. So, going into life insurance and these kind of creditor protected vehicles, annuities, life insurance, these are things you might have after a horrible thing like that happens. And I think it just is basic common sense to have at least 1 or 2 policies like that. And I think especially when you're dealing with celebrities, people who make big money, big contracts, athletes.
That's like your safety boat, right?
Yeah, I mean, God forbid you're driving. I mean, there was a wide receiver for the Raiders, had a terrible smash up, young guy, $16 million contract. The guy he smashed into will probably own all his money, and he's going to jail probably. I don't know what happened, but for 10, 20 years, he was under the influence, and young people can do those kind of things. And if he was in the right, had some life insurance, had some, just dropped 1 million out of that 16 million for a one-time payment life insurance policy, at the end of getting out of prison 10, 20 years, he's not broke. He might have access to 5, 6, $10 million.
Ah, nice.
So it's hard. It's hard when you're in at that point, because we only tend to think about these kind of things when we need it, and that's too late.
That can definitely be too late.
It's definitely too late. I'm about to retire, I need life insurance. It's shopping for life insurance in 60s and 70s is you have to bet you're probably going to pass in the next 3 or 4 years, or you're going to spend more in it than you're going to get. And it's not, even if you're completely healthy. So it's not advisable.
Okay, now right, I can see that. So, what are some other, let's say people do get up to 60s or 70s and they have procrastinated for whatever reason or have not been in a position to do that early on to get
Yep.
that policy. What can they do that would be helpful? What's a strategy for people in their 60s that went, whoops, should
Well, I
have done
mean,
this sooner?
you have to be careful with your money. Obviously, whatever you've been able to save, hopefully something. Annuities are a good option, so you don't have any downside. You can't lose your money in a major downturn. We don't want to see we've seen time in the stock market that's down 20, 30%, lose 20, 30% of money. That's gonna be very difficult for us to deal with. So,
Right.
that there's that. I also think that buying life insurance and policies and investing, through our kids and grandkids is a very good idea because that cash is available to the grandparent if they need it.
Oh, that's right.
So if they're putting in,
Oh, that's a great
if they put
idea.
500 into their policy,
Uh-huh.
the cash value is going to grow very slightly. That going into a very young child's account. So, you know,
That could be a baby.
yeah. So
Yeah.
the money's not going to be available, when they pass. But really, there's
Okay.
no life insurance to buy at that time. But that child is now set up, and the grandparent or the parent can dip into the cash value if they need the loan.
Oh, right.
So
So
so they
they're
so
free to
they
do
can
that.
so they can benefit from that and put in and take out, and I think it's really important that we have that, again, that flexibility. So
Yes.
I think that that's a very good idea, and the other option is to be
That's a
very
good
risky and
plan
try.
B, right?
I think so. I think and that sets up the next generations, and
Okay.
either the grandparents can benefit from it if they pass, then the kids now has this start in life, and
Great idea.
so
I like that.
the other trick is obviously payments and being able to keep up with the payments and looking at some flexible options on payments. Sometimes we're out of work, we might not have much money available, and if we have to make the payment or we're losing the insurance, that can be very difficult. So people
So
drop insurance policies that are universal life policies, which are more flexible. So if you drop your payment sometimes 40, 50% for a few months, that's okay. Plus you have cash value, which can kick in and pay the
good.
premium for a while.
Okay.
So we want to keep them alive. We don't want to spend a lot of money putting them into policies and then having them go away. And I think the
Oh,
other
yeah.
important thing I wanted just to mention,
Uh-huh.
talking a lot, but
That's good. No, this is important. Tonight, one thing we're emphasizing, I noticed more so than the last time I had you on, is diversity. So
Mhm.
we're going to take a break here now. We've got a special message from one of our sponsors. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back with Henry Baker. He's going to tell us more about diversity and how to make money, save money, and do it right. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
A delicious cup of coffee is a daily staple. But if you are one of 50 million Americans that suffer from acid sensitivity or digestive issues, that cup of Java can ruin the rest of your day. Until now, introducing Tyler's Coffee, an acid-free alternative to the traditional bean.
I knew that there was a need because my father had a need. And if my father had a need, then how many other people have a need?
The key to Tyler's Coffee is the roasting process.
We knew we wanted to go USDA certified organic. So we wanted to be the purest and cleanest coffee in the world. We had to source stuff from Africa, we had to source stuff from Brazil, we had to source stuff from Chile, and we put it through our proprietary Z-roasting processor. So what that really truly means to you is that the coffee doesn't have inflammatory properties in it. I'm dedicated to serving 50 million Americans that suffer from stomach-related modalities, and also the millions of other people that just deserve a great tasting cup of coffee that's healthy and safe.
Affiliated with Tyler's Coffee, but I can tell you that drinking acid-free coffee will really ease your stomach. I'm so glad I found it.
I love their coffee. It's very good. It's very smooth. Their process still keeps the rich coffee flavor without all the acidity of it, and I really enjoy it.
Available in regular or decaf, ground or whole bean, you can enjoy Tyler's Coffee in a drip, French press, espresso, or any of your favorite methods, even the ever-popular K-Cup. Enjoy a fresh cup like never before. Drink different. Drink smart. Drink Tyler's Coffee.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
All right, so welcome back. We're back with Henry Baker, finding out all kinds of important, great ideas for how to give your family and yourself better retirement, and how to really be able to save and diversify and really improve your financial standing for yourself and your families and your loved ones. All right, so continuing on then, what are some other good strategies, Henry, to really diversify?
I wanted to kind of warn, because I've seen a lot of buying life insurance direct from companies. There are automated websites that are out there, and especially if you have any medical issues, going through those websites without advice of an agent could be very, very ill-advised. Because when you apply for life insurance, a rejection can be held against you, and that's something you have to report on the next policy and application. And this can really haunt people, and they can end up in a downward spiral, almost like applying for credit cards that you don't qualify for and getting hard credit pulls, and your credit scores are dropping. And you're just applying for credit cards, and these things are going to sit on your record for the next 6 months, and your score is going to be artificially lowered, where you can't get even maybe any kind of credit card because you just applied for the wrong ones with the wrong credit score. So there's really, for me, not a whole lot of savings in my mind, especially when you're dealing with being rated and dealing with the right company. So, unless you're getting tremendous advice from an automated system, there's a lot of pitfalls that need to be, considered. So if you have an agent that you trust, unless you don't trust any agents, then, especially if you have any medical conditions, because navigating those are very complicated, and it takes a really dedicated agent to spend a lot of time to, sometimes even they call it floating a trial balloon, which is asking an insurance company, hey, I got this guy, these are the terms, should I even be talking to you about this, or what could I possibly expect putting an application in? Because we don't want to just apply randomly and then it blows up in our face and he gets rejected, and now his situation just gets worse because there's something called the Medical Information Bureau, and MIB, which the insurance companies are collecting health information on you all the time.
Oh, okay.
So this is out there, and they're going to look at it, and sometimes even there are cases where bad information can end up in that record, and you don't even know that that's being said about you. And I have clients that find out because a doctor wrote, for example, and you have to be careful what you say to doctors, which is also very complicated because, when you deal with insurance, and that's why getting insurance early on. So one of these things happens, like you go into a doctor and say, hey, I'm feeling very nervous about, I lost a lot of money in my coin. I'm feeling nervous. And, sometimes I feel unstable. Now you get like a note saying, maybe thinking about suicide, things like that. And that's going to show up on your Medical Information Bureau. And then when you apply for insurance, you don't have to answer for all these things and what's going on, and that you get follow up, and we're on medication, and it's become a big crazy show. So there's a, and now in our case, I mean, a lot of people are concerned and tell their doctors things, and there are not a lot of pristine, healthy people with no information on their records. And really, you should be trying to get help and tell your doctor that you are nervous and concerned, and maybe there's a way to help you. So the more you speak, the more you're damaging yourself. By being honest. So, I mean, I think most people don't understand that, which is, you have HIPAA and protection and who can get your medical records, but then the insurance companies are pulling your files from your doctor's records and seeing all kinds of stuff about you, and you're actually giving them permission because, they're making judgments on your health and on your ratings and on the cost to insure you. And, that's why if you had guaranteed insurability when you're a child, you have these policies when you're young, of course, they're growing very powerfully, nothing compared to what you'd be looking at if you're in your 40s or 50s. Plus, there's opportunities to even buy more insurance. You can buy riders, which can, you can buy more insurance later on when you have the money. And even if you're smoking or you're way overweight or these things on your record. They don't look at any of your health. Your health is locked in at that stage. So you lock your health in when everything is great.
Better
and then
to
if
do it
things
early.
go off, now you could be in a situation where you're very, very sick.
Right.
God forbid, early in life, and you have a right to buy more insurance at your health back then, and that's an incredible investment because you could buy $200,000 more insurance at different intervals, and pretty much everyone knows you're going to probably be passing in the next 5 to 6 years. So that's a pretty good investment.
Yes,
when you're paying it at a rate on health that you don't have.
Right.
So those are the tricks, and that's why. I really think it's important to get started, very young, and I think it's a great discussion piece. I think it's a great way for kids to start in life by having that talk with their parents or with their advisor or their agent, who'll have that talk and say, let me explain to you, what we're doing and how this is setting you up. And I have a client whose daughter is going to be sitting with her friends at 28 years old. So I think she's 14 now.
Uh-huh.
And they're gonna be, well, I mean, I got this debt from college and I got this and I got that.
Oh yeah.
And she's gonna say, well, I got that too, but I'm retired. I don't have to put any more money. I'm done. I'm betting I'm gonna return 5, 6, 7% in my life, and I'm gonna have, $1 million to $1.3 million by the time I'm in my 60s.
How early did you all put that in for her? Insurance?
No,
when she was a baby.
So this is getting a Roth, like a custodial Roth, when she's 14, and saying, okay, you're making $1,000 a month, so these $300 are going to your retirement.
Right.
700, you can do whatever you want, buy tennis shoes, buy whatever the heck you want. But let's show you this is how it's working, and by doing that, the worry is gone from your life, and plus, there's going to be other vehicles which you can get involved with. You can get matching, IRAs. Hopefully you'll pick the Roth option or be offered the Roth option. Some companies don't. And that'll just be a supplemental. So you're just supplementing to your retirement. But basically, if nothing else happened in your life and you just couldn't put away another dime to retirement, you're all set. In a much better situation than your friends who spent every dollar recklessly. So you're teaching a lot of responsibility at an early age, and a lot of young people are like, I want to go get a job. I want to start this right now. I mean, mom, dad, help me find a job because I need to make $1,000 a month, and I'm gonna start my retirement.
Parents like that. They like to hear that.
I think it's important because a lot of kids. There's a lot of difficulties going on, a lot of challenges, and it can go and maybe come back home, and it's very hard for them to get on their feet. And when they have these, if we can create a really responsible youngster who has this kind of a mindset, that changes everything. We're not dealing with that kind of a reality, unfortunately.
People now more and more are waking up and realizing, I'm going to have to do my best to help my children not to get into really bad, deep college debt, which is so important. Now, what about college debt? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take another break here and hear from one of our sponsors. When we come back, let's see what recommendations you have also about setting things up so that your children are not going to be trapped with this debt that's so hard to pay back once they graduate from college. And some of them go on to law school and medical school, so they really have to do it. But anyway, so stay tuned to the Kristina Lynn Show, and we will be right back.
As an Olympic athlete, I prepare for everything. So when I became pregnant, I thought I was ready. But at 32 weeks, I was diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and had an emergency C-section. Looking back, had I known the warning signs, I would have talked to my doctor sooner. Too many women die of pregnancy-related complications, and most are preventable. If you or someone you know is pregnant or recently had a baby, learn the warning signs. It could help save her life. Hear her.
So, what is love? Love is being independent. Love is dancing. At Shriners Hospital for Children, love is a new smile.
At Shriners Hospitals for Children, love is caring for a child regardless of the family's ability to pay. Learn how you can send your love to the rescue at lovetotherescue.org.
And welcome back to the Kristina Lynn Show. We are spending an amazing show with Henry Baker, and Henry is amazing. He has been giving us so many great ideas. I think that I definitely want to help also get insurance for my life insurance for my young nephews and nieces, because it really creates such a great opportunity for them. Now, you were saying that if grandparents and parents do that, if something came up for the grandparents or the parents, I just want to circle back to this. Let's say that they had something wrong with their car and they had to pull some money out. Can the parents or grandparents pull some out?
Yeah, on permanent policies, the loan, the cash value balance is available for the owner to take a loan on it. So the owner is going to be the parent or the grandparent.
Right.
So they're the ones that can ask for the loan. So whatever is left is going to stay in the policy. Now, if you need it, you need it. So, it's there. If you don't need it, it's going to stay in the policy and grow it faster and stronger for your kid or grandkid. So it just makes a lot of sense in the world to kind of pay it forward. And I think there's something that's really missing in our society. There's a very, if you go back many hundreds of years, there were societies, civilizations that started projects that would take 6, 7, 8, 10 generations to complete.
Yes.
Their great grandkids will not see the completion of this, but they're building it for the next generations. And I think that's something that's very, I don't know if it doesn't exist, but is damaged in our American Western mindset. And I don't speak for the rest of the world, but anybody, really.
Now, why do you think that's happened? Let's look at that a minute.
Well, we're bombarded with information. We're
oh yeah, that's true.
Things happen very quick. True. I mean, there are people who become. One fellow, I forgot what company started, worth $20 billion in crypto. He's in his 20s. He just figured out how to arbitrage between the price of Bitcoin and Japan versus America, and he was able to capitalize his company. I forgot what the company's name is again.
Financial genius.
And now he's probably broke. Oh,
you think?
With the collapse. So things move so fast, and I think people think that they can always make it happen really fast later on, but it's.
Right.
Just with real estate agents, I'll just sell like 5 houses the last year I'm working, and it's going to be set. It'll be fine. I'll make a ton of money, be finished. But putting yourself in that position where you have to sell it. I mean, do you know you'll sell 5 houses? Maybe a terrible situation, economic situation.
There's no guarantee.
So, I think it's just playing with our minds, and I think not having that long mindset, because it's such a problem, because young people have many years for compounding interest and for things to happen. And it's really good, I think, to have life insurance or investments or things that are credit protected, things that are, like I said, multifunctional, that can be there for if you get sick. There's money for you for home aid, God forbid, if you need to, you have to go to a nursing home or, but think about that when you're like in your teens is unnatural.
It is very unnatural.
That's why really it's the previous generation's responsibility, parents, grandparents, aunts, to talk about this. But there's an allergic, I think, because so many people are in such bad financial shape that no one talks about it. So it's just get another credit card and get more debt. And I think that's a real crime, that we're not there to help people be in better shape, but we're not so concerned about our neighbors. I mean, I don't know why that is. It seems there's a lot more me. If I don't get, if you get, I'm going to have less. Zero-sum game. Something.
That's unfortunate, because we all have to work together and help each other. And that's what I like about you, Henry, is you really make a difference for people. Mm-hmm. Now, you have gone to some of the lower income areas and helping single mothers. Well, you are always full of so much good advice. And I'd love to have you regularly on the show. Oh, and if you will give us, we need their website and your email.
Yeah, so my 2 websites are High Value Financial, all one word, no hyphens, .com. So that's highvaluefinancial.com. And my nonprofit foundation is wecareforever.org, wecareforever.org. Please check in regularly, and definitely looking forward to hearing from you. And you can send emails to info@highvaluefinancial.com. highvaluefinancial.com.
Thank you again for being here with the Kristina Lynn Show. I'm your host, Kristina Lynn, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the same place and same time next week.
The Kristina Lynn Show, the show with heart. We'll be looking forward to seeing you again. And don't forget just how important you really are to us. We love and respect each and every one of you.